Once the crown jewel of American industry now trembles under President Trump's sweeping tariffs, Stellantis, GM, and Ford, the legendary Big Three, are battered by skyrocketing costs, shuttered plants, and mass layoffs. What was sold as a revival of American manufacturing has spiraled into crisis, bleeding billions and igniting global backlash. Stellantis, once hailed as Detroit's comeback hero, now finds itself at the very center of collapse. Buckle up, because what's unfolding isn't just economic turbulence, it's a seismic reckoning for America's auto industry. Here are the dramatic developments, reshaping the road ahead. Stellantis on the brink, billions lost and factories falling silent. Stellantis, the parent of Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, has become the face of tariff fallout in just the first half of 2025. It posted a staggering $2.7 billion loss, with $347 million drained directly by tariffs. But the deeper wounds came from halted production, canceled programs, and mounting restructuring bills since 2024. The company has burned through $9 billion in cash, rattling investors and sending shares tumbling 9% on the ground. The crisis is severe. Stellantis froze output in Windsor, Canada, and Toluca, Mexico, forcing nearly 900 layoffs in Michigan and Indiana. CEO Antonio Filosa promises a rebound, touting 10 new model launches, including the Jeep Cherokee's return and the long-awaited Ram Hemi V8. Dealers are hopeful, but it's unclear if new models can outrun billions in tariff drag. With over 40% of U.S. sales tied to imports now saddled with 25% duties, Stellantis has shifted from comeback hero to symbol of Detroit's fragility. But Stellantis isn't the only giant feeling the squeeze. GM and Ford are now caught in the same economic vice. GM and Ford under pressure. Tariffs drive icons into survival mode. General Motors and Ford aren't escaping the tariff storm. GM has slashed its 2025 profit forecast, warning of $4 to $5 billion in added costs this year. Second quarter profits already dropped $1 billion, forcing Indiana truck plants into emergency overdrive, a tactic that looks more like survival than real growth. Ford has pulled its full-year guidance altogether, projecting a $1.5 billion hit from tariffs. Each Ford built in the U.S. now carries about $5,000 in extra costs. Much of it passed to buyers. Trucks and SUVs still roll off assembly lines, but EV ambitions have been scaled back. Unions in Michigan and Ohio brace for fresh layoffs as executives quietly explore shifting production overseas. An irony given tariffs were meant to protect American jobs. Consumers face the fallout too. Luxury automakers hiked prices 10%, and Ford's SUVs may soon follow. Instead of innovation, Detroit's giants are locked in defensive mode. Tariffs promised revival. But GM and Ford are simply fighting to stay alive. Before we delve deeper, do us a favor and smash that like and subscribe button. This helps us reach more auto enthusiasts just like you. Now let's shift gears and see how tariffs are dismantling the very backbone of the North American supply chain. North America's supply web in ruins, tariffs shatter, decades of integration. One of the greatest victims of the tariff war is the once seamless North American supply chain. For decades, factories in the US, Mexico, and Canada worked as a unified network with parts crossing borders multiple times before final assembly. That efficiency has now collapsed under tariffs. Steel and aluminum imports face duties of up to 50%, while vehicles from Canada and Mexico carry similar burdens. What was once the advantage of free trade is now a crushing liability, costing automakers billions. Canada has been hit especially hard. Its auto sector directly employs 125,000 workers and supports nearly 500,000 more. Yet Prime Minister Mark Carney was forced to delay EV regulations to keep factories running. Unions on both sides of the border accuse Stellantis and others of premature layoffs, while Michigan towns sink deeper into economic paralysis. The irony is clear. Tariffs intended to bring jobs home are instead pushing automakers to bypass North America entirely, breaking apart Detroit's competitive backbone. And this backlash isn't confined to the continent. U.S. trade partners across the globe are now striking back. A worldwide pushback. Allies retaliate as U.S. isolation deepens. The tariff crisis has spilled far beyond U.S. borders, sparking a fierce global backlash. Canada retaliated with counter-tariffs on American cars, escalating tensions over pipelines and agriculture. Europe faces the threat of a 30% tariff on EU-made vehicles, with Berlin and Paris warning of tens of thousands of lost jobs. Japan braces for up to $17 billion in export losses, while South Korea launched a $2 billion bailout to protect 340,000 auto jobs. Allies once aligned with Washington are now forging new paths, exploring BRICS trade corridors and Europe-Asia supply pacts, pushing each other closer while leaving the U.S. more isolated. China, already blocked by a 100% tariff, has barely flinched. Instead, it's accelerating expansion into Europe and Southeast Asia, strengthening its industrial independence while America falters. The geopolitical stakes are profound. Instead of reinforcing leadership, Washington's tariffs project fragility. What began as America first now risks becoming America alone as allies question U.S. reliability and long-term credibility. Yet even in the chaos, Stellantis refuses to roll over. Its leadership is betting on a bold turnaround. Stellantis's bid for redemption, iconic muscle versus relentless tariff storm. Despite mounting losses, Stellantis refuses to quit. CEO Antonio Filosa has unveiled a recovery plan built on 10 new global launches in 2025, including the Jeep Compass, Dodge Charger, 6-pack, Jeep Cherokee Hybrid, and electric Ram from master dealers. Long, frustrated by a thin lineup, welcomed the return of icons like the 5.7-liter Hemi V8 Ram trucks. Filosa insists inventories are now balanced with 2024 backlogs cleared and new models selling steadily. Investor confidence ticked up as shares rose 9% in Milan, buoyed by progress in tariff discussions with Washington. Yet obstacles remain steep: $1.7 billion in 2025 tariff costs. Restructuring charges and weakening European sales weigh heavily. The strategy signals a shift from austerity toward rebuilding, from contraction to ambition, by leaning on muscle favorites, expanding EV offerings, and stabilizing cash flow. Stellantis hopes to reclaim its U.S. footing. Whether the gamble succeeds is uncertain, but one truth stands firm. Stellantis has become the litmus test for Detroit's survival under tariffs. Which brings us to the final verdict. Can Detroit endure, or is it heading toward collapse? Verdict: Detroit's defining lap, survival instincts or slow industrial collapse. Detroit's stands on a knife's edge. Stellantis' $2.7 billion lost, Ford's $1.5 billion hit, and GM's $5 billion exposure reveal how tariffs, once pitched as patriotic armor, now resemble quicksand, dragging down jobs, raising consumer costs, and straining alliances abroad. And yet, the Motor City hasn't surrendered. Stellantis is reviving icons like the Hemi V8. GM is pushing truck lines to the limit, and Ford is banking on loyal pickup buyers. There's grit left in Detroit's tank, but the question remains, can resilience alone withstand political headwinds this strong? If Stellantis falters, it won't just be another corporate misstep. It will be a signal that tariffs have permanently rewritten the rules of survival. The stakes go beyond balance sheets. This is about whether Detroit's legacy of innovation can endure in an era defined by policy shocks. Before we wrap up, let's put it to you. Do you think Stellantis' recovery plan is enough to survive the tariff storm? Are tariffs a necessary defense for American jobs, or a wrecking ball for Detroit's future? And looking beyond Stellantis, which of the big three do you believe is best positioned to withstand this pressure? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear your take. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the next big update on vehicles, powertrains, and the shifting roads of the auto industry. Thanks for riding along with us today, and see you next time. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's plenty more to explore.